Hi, this is Charlotte Reeves from Unleashed Education. I'm just editing these photos here. They're for a rescue dog called Roxy. I've been playing around with the new masking tools in Lightroom, and I've been trying to find different ways to use these tools to help speed up my workflow. One thing I do fairly often is removing yellowish or greenish color casts from white fur. So as you can see, the chest of this dog, it's quite kind of muddy looking because of this sort of color cast. So normally I would take the image into Photoshop and do a hue saturation layer with a mask and get rid of that color that way. But I thought I'd try and see if I can do the same thing but in Lightroom, and most importantly quicker, because it's always good to try and speed up your workflow. So with the new masking tools, you can select a color range. So I'm just going to go color range. I'm going to zoom into the chest here and just click somewhere where it's got that yellowish sort of cast. So it picks up this color here. Let me just zoom out again. It also picks up a lot of the color in the surroundings, but we're going to deal with that. So I'm going to take that refine slider down a little, so it's only really affecting the bits that we want to affect. And then I'm going to intersect that mask with a selection of the subject. So if you hold down the Option key on your keyboard and go intersect, you can intersect that mask with select subject. So basically anything that's been selected by both the color range and the subject, that's the only part of the image that will be selected. And that's pretty much exactly what we want. So I've actually changed this masking mode. I find it a bit easier to see white on black because it gives you a really good picture of exactly where that mask is applying to. You can change it back to color overlay. I just find it a little bit distracting sometimes if you've got other colors in the image. It's hard to see exactly where that mask is applying to. So I'm going to just turn that mask off, and then I'm going to zoom in. Now, the adjustments that we want to do to get rid of this muddy yellowish kind of color cast, a lot of the time the color cast exists because the fur is darker in that area. So I'm going to take the exposure up a little. I'm also going to take the whites up as well, and that kind of helps brighten the area. Then I'm going to take the color temperature to the opposite of yellow, which is blue. And that kind of helps to, I guess, cancel out the yellow. And then if you need a little bit more, you can use the saturation. I wouldn't go in there and just take all the saturation out. Let's just have a really quick look and see what that looks like if you do that. So if I just take the saturation out, see how it just sort of, it keeps that muddy kind of look going on there because you haven't really done anything to the luminance of the area. So I'm just going to go back in the history and get all my adjustments back. So I think that's done a fairly good job. I think overall it's just made that white fur a lot cleaner. So there we go, a nice easy way to remove color casts in white fur using the new masking tools. I hope you found that helpful, and thanks so much for joining me.